who have that trauma, they become hyper independent. And what happens is when somebody wants a lot of their time and energy, instead of seeing it as a form of love, they see it as a form of control. They always want space. So even if they're married, a part of them wants like a separate bedroom. Or when they start to get attached to somebody, as much as they want emotional intimacy, they want distance. What happens is they kind of intimacy, distance. And then sometimes you end up not cheating, but just opening doors to other women, not because you want to cheat, but you just want to create independence from your partner. You just want to create an emotional distance. Other things that they'll do is they point out flaws in their partner, not because there are flaws, but they're trying to emotionally detach. So their partner will, after being with somebody who's hyper independent, their partner's like, does he even love me?
Most people are busy in their personal lives, but nobody is busy.
All right, let's go over this again. What do we want? Connection and closeness with another person. Great. And what are we going to do when we get that connection? Sabotage it. No. Avoid vulnerability like the plague. Also no. Run away at the first sign of closeness. Jimmy. Take constructive feedback as an attack. Shut down during conflict, leaving my partner feeling unheard and alone. Nope. Dismiss and invalidate their feelings as irrational. Please don't do that. Numb out and suppress my feelings so far down that I don't even know if they exist anymore. That is not healthy. Be fiercely independent. You can't trust anyone but yourself. Who hurt you? Refuse to take accountability or apologize for anything because that would mean I'm a failure. That is untrue. Reject them before they can reject me. We're gonna get you some help, okay? I think if I'm honest deep down, I'm just scared of losing myself. What's that? I mean, if I truly let myself love someone and fully take my armor off, I can't protect myself from being hurt. That was so beautiful and so vulnerable, and I really think we can build. So I'm gonna ghost them and then just unknowingly repeat this process with someone else. No, we were so close.
If you wonder what men are thinking during no contact, take a walk with me. And let's be clear, it's mostly anxious attachers that ask this question. You're looking for clarity and closure and trying to figure out what you did wrong. Because if you can figure that out, then you can fix it and gain access to the love that you deserve. Not realizing that you're already worthy, whole, and complete, and that you shouldn't have to fight to gain access to the love that you desire. And if we're being honest, you're the only one that's playing the no contact game. And that person who's the object of your desire, they'll message you in a couple weeks. And you'll be super excited to receive their messages because it's going to feel like, oh my gosh, it's happening. You may even have a failed meetup attempt and then they ghost you again. But they're just making sure that you're still there, that you're an option. And when you're anxious, you're more than happy to be one. The question you may want to ask yourself is, were you dating a man or a boy? Were they anxious, avoidant, and have ADHD? Did that relationship turn toxic? And be honest, why? You're probably the anxious one watching this video. We'll focus on the avoidant and what they feel during no contact. Someone who has an avoidant attachment is going to feel relief after a breakup. And they're probably going to go back to doing what they were doing before you guys met. Or they're going to go into one of their favorite coping mechanisms, which is working a lot. Of course, they don't recognize this, but they're keeping themselves busy from feeling their feelings. Which is why 6 months later, when they do start to feel their feelings, you might get a text message saying, hey, or what's up? And while you monitor their social media, hoping for their return, they're probably dating other people. And it's not because they don't remember you or that you weren't special to them, but this is their standard operating procedure. It's their iOS that hasn't been updated since they were young. And if you answer that text message 6 months from now, when they finally feel their feelings, they're going to say things like, I miss you. It was a mistake to let that relationship go. And because you guys had a push-pull dynamic in your relationship, they often felt flooded, which feels like a threat to their nervous system. And now that it no longer feels like a threat and the rose-colored glasses are on, they're thinking, we should give that another shot. And I'm not saying don't give it another shot. You do you. But you should probably ask the question, what's changed? What's different? Have you gone to therapy? Did your financial problems get solved? Did they work through whatever they needed to work through? But more importantly, did you? You see, you have to be honest about why you were in no contact to begin with, and you take ownership of part of that. And for clarity, no contact can look like this. You block them on socials, ending your phone. You delete their number, or you change their name to do not call. And then you focus on you while healing your shiznit and getting your groove back. You start reading books and listening to the Blueprint podcast to build a more secure attachment style. Secure attachment to yourself. And you learn to not play the block, unblock, block, unblock, block, unblock game. Nobody needs that kind of toxicity in their life. Stop it. It's not good for either of you, and if you're not careful, it becomes a pattern in all of your relationships. There's just so much chemistry. I can't stay away. It's amazing. It's electric. I've never felt this before. But you have. It's called home. How was home? And I know, regardless of all this information, there's one question that's still on your mind. But do they miss me? Yes. If you spend any significant time together, they're going to miss you, but maybe not at the level that you think or would hope. So focus on you and build that secure attachment style. You got this, and you're a lot closer than you think.
If you were ever in a situationship with an avoidantly attached person and they broke up with you after 3 months, after things were really good in the beginning and you thought you were vibing, and then all of a sudden they just dropped you out of nowhere and said, I just can't be the person for you, and they sent it over text, and now you're heartbroken, and now you're here watching this TikTok, I have something to tell you. The thing with avoidant attachment style is they view relationships as something that makes them feel stuck, lost, helpless, not happy, claustrophobic, all of the bad things. And so they make this agreement in their head with themselves. Okay, I will not be in a relationship, a committed relationship, because I don't want to feel that way. But I will see other people and hang out with other people. That's the key word that was used on me so many times. I'll hang with people, but I won't date them. This is a rule that avoidantly attached people create for themselves to feel some level of peace, some level of stability, and allow them to still control their life, their time, their schedule. Because if they're not in a committed relationship with you, they have no responsibility of taking you out on a date every single week, making sure you're emotionally stable, checking in, like, how is your day? Like, good morning. Like, they don't have to say any of those things because they're not actually in a committed relationship with you. They're just hanging out with you. Think about it if you're hanging out with your friend. Do you text your friend every day like, good morning, how are you doing today? Like, I don't text my friends every single day. I'll text them every once in a while, and when we hang out, I get all the updates. Like, that's how it works. Your avoidant partner, low-key, was viewing your relationship, like the relationship between you guys, as a friendship, but treating you like a romantic partner. And they only do this so that they can fall asleep at night, okay? These type of relationships just feel like you're floating through time. Like, there's not really any big milestones. It's just like, oh, we went on a 4th date and it was really good. Like, we vibed. And it's just, there's not a lot of substance to those relationships. In a situationship, you never get deep. You never talk about, like, your fears in life, your traumas, or anything like that. The only person that does is usually the anxious person that just wants to open up and share everything about themselves because they found someone that they can feel vulnerable with. But I'll let you in on a secret. Anxiously attached people can be vulnerable with the person that does their nails. I am not kidding. Anxious people, anxiously attached people, are not afraid to let out everything to anyone. It doesn't take long to get that connection of, I trust you enough to share all of my secrets and my dating life stories, okay? I remember when I was extremely anxious, I would tell my entire family all of my dating stories. Every time I got home from a date, I would call up my dad and be like, this is what happened. Like, I would tell them everything. Okay, like, I had no shame at all. So anxious people are not afraid to be vulnerable. You know this though. Avoidance will not be vulnerable with anyone, okay? So they viewed the relationship with you as something that was just an opportunity to get to know someone and just hang out with someone multiple times in a row. And also maybe do some sexual things with, but, just as friends, right? Now, they let themselves loose a little bit a couple of times where they felt like, okay, I want to have a romantic connection with this person. I want to do romantic things for them. I want to make them happy, right? And so that is where the anxious person typically reads the room wrong, because they're like, wait a second, this is what a boyfriend or girlfriend would do, not a friend. We're not just hanging out anymore. I'm deleting the dating apps. Like, this is my person. Okay, they interpret it completely wrong. That's why their heart is broken extremely badly, because they read the room wrong. But I don't blame you because it's happened to me and I'm like, wait, what? But the thing is, avoidantly attached people are dipping their foot in the water. They're like, okay, how does this feel? How does like having a romantic relationship with someone feel? And they like it. They like, you know, seeing the same person, having a connection, like going out with them. But they don't like the idea of talking about commitment, talking about long-term things, having the conversation of what are we? Like anything like that will start to stir up the anxiety, the fear, the guilt, the shame that the avoidant feels. And the reason they feel shame and guilt and just like worthlessness, it doesn't happen right away, but they know deep down that you want a long-term relationship and it's not what the avoidant person wants. So they know I can't be what they want because I physically, emotionally, spiritually cannot be in a long-term relationship because avoidance, they feel so uncomfortable in those type of relationships unless they have the awareness to know their attachment style and have the strength to lean into that resistance and that uncomfortable feeling of breaking through the urge to distance themselves to find safety. Does that make sense? So that's why they typically do these short-term situationships because it's like the safe space for avoidance. Same thing with long distance relationships. Like avoidants love those because it's very low effort. There's really not a lot of commitment. Like, you know, you see each other every like couple of months. You talk to each other on the phone like, I don't know, once a week or something like that. Like that's very low effort. You could even cancel those calls if you wanted to. So there's really no commitment. And some of them work, I'll give you that. But a lot of them really start to fizzle out over time. And you'll notice those long distance relationships, they fizzle out when you start to talk about moving in together because the avoidance like, oh shit, I gave in too much, I dipped my foot in the water and then I accidentally jumped into the pool and now they feel extremely stuck, extremely uncomfortable. And for what? It's like now I have to give up this relationship that I enjoyed being in, but they want something that I can't give them. So I can't do this. I'm such a bad person. I can't believe I even tried to be in a relationship with them. I said I couldn't do it, but here we are. And then that's when the shame starts kicking in and all of these very negative emotions. They start to fear as well that you are just going to abandon them because you want something else and they can't give that to you, so you're just going to leave them. And that's terrifying for them, you know? So again, these long distance relationships, these short-term situationships, those are the easiest taste of a relationship that an avoidant can get into before things start to get serious. And typically, in order for an avoidantly attached person to feel this readiness inside of them, that they actually want a relationship, like a romantic relationship, for them to get to that point, it takes a lot of situationships and just solitude of being by themselves to get there.
Do you wonder why your DA or even your FA falls for you when you're not around, when you're taking space, when you're in no contact? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Hi, my name is Kim. I am a certified relationship coach and I am a healing, fearful avoidant. Okay, so I experienced this with my FA. They tend to feel closer to you when they're away from you or in space or in no contact when the relationship ends. And here is why. So with a DA, we're going to talk mostly about DA here, but this does apply to FAs as well a lot of the time. But when you have a DA, okay, so they feel safer keeping distance. Here is why. So they grew up without emotional attunement, okay, which means that the parent backed them up emotionally, taught them things, was there to love them, take care of them, okay? And if they had a parent that did not do this, the child had to do it themselves. And that was my childhood too. They had to do it themselves. They had to take care of themselves emotionally. They had to take care of their own needs, love themselves. And that was totally me. They didn't get anything. The sun is getting in my face. They didn't get anything that they needed. They weren't taught anything to help them as adults, okay, to thrive on their own emotionally. So this person learned to do it on their own. So when they became an adult, anyone that gets too close to them that could really hurt them, such as a romantic partner, that feels unsafe to them because they don't recognize that. dealing on their own feels normal to them. But when someone gets close to them or too close to them, or if you're an anxious person and you chase them, that feels unsafe, really unsafe to them. Okay. So the thing of it is they'll push you away, they'll shut down, and they will go into hyper independent mode of like working a lot of jobs. This is my ex, working lots of jobs, working around his garage, just work. And you know, he would say, well, I could try to see you, but I'm doing this, you know. He just was always having excuses. It was just a way to keep me at bay, but he liked knowing I was there. And the thing of it is when they're away from you, they try to use work and independence to push their feelings away. But when they are apart from you for a while and they are working a lot, that is when they start to access their feelings. They access their feelings, they feel them, they know they're there, and they're happy to have those feelings. But being near you feels unsafe because it doesn't feel normal to them to have someone that wants to be so close to them all the time. It's not what they're used to, it's not what they know. Now, of course, this can be repaired, but they have to be able to acknowledge and be self-aware and see there's an issue, and they have to want to work on it. You cannot do that for them, okay? But I just wanted you to understand, because I'm getting a lot of callers, a lot of my clients are saying, but they told me they loved me a week ago, and now they're pulling away, they're disappearing, and I don't understand what happened. What did I do? Well, chances are, I mean, you could be an AP who was grasping on too hard and chasing them, and that is going to push them away. But chances are, if they're a DA or even an FA leaning DA, they're going to pull away on their own anyway. Okay, so the best thing here is just let them have space for a little bit. If you're in no contact, stay in no contact for a while. But I just wanted you to understand what's going on in that space, why they are the way they are. They just didn't get it as a child, so they're acting that out as an adult. That space feels safe for them, and that was me also. Okay, when you don't get what you need, how do you find it as a kid? You find it yourself. So you grow up thinking that is how it's supposed to be. So you continue to do what feels safe, what feels normal. And you, as an AP, that may not be normal, but that's where you need to understand. If you love them and you want to be with them, you have to understand where they're coming from, okay? Does it make it okay? Does it make it healthy for you? No, of course not. But that's where they need to be willing to learn and grow and self-acknowledge, okay? And you also should work on yourself and working on your core wounds as to why, if you are chasing them too much, why you are. There might be an abandonment wound in there that needs to be addressed from your childhood. But anyway, I thought that would help you guys. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Have a good day.
What does it look like when avoidant attachers are in love? I think what people are asking is, how do they know that someone's in love with them if their tendency is to run away?
Keep coming back.
That's how they know.
Yeah.
So you notice yourself coming back. That's...
Yeah.
Huh.
Because they don't want to be gone. They still like the person. They just don't know how to deal with their emotions or how to communicate what's going on. They don't have a clue.
You're saying you don't know immediately when you're in love?
Yeah, it's not like the stupid butterflies in your stomach. Oh my god, that's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, that's what we get.
Yeah, no. I don't think I've ever felt that in my life. But I have, over a course of time, realized that the person that I'm dating or in a relationship with is actually really good and has a lot to offer and makes me feel good inside.